Do you have a light switch in your house that doesn't work? Or are you wanting to replace an old light switch with a newer one? It's actually very easy to do. Today on Brew Builds, I'll show you how you can easily and safely replace a light switch. You ready? Let's fix this! The light switch in our kitchen started having some problems a few weeks ago. It turns on, you just can't get it to stay in the off position. There it goes. What's funny is the switch upstairs in my office has the opposite problem. I can't get it to stay on. Tools and items needed: a light switch, a Phillips and flat blade screwdriver, a pair of strippers, wire cutters, wire nuts, and a circuit tester. There are different types and styles when it comes to light switches. For the longest time, you had your typical switch where you turn your light on and turn your light off. They came in your fancier square switch or your typical old school toggle switch. Then they started putting dimmers into the switches so you could actually dim the light as well as turn it on and off. Over the years, these have become more sophisticated, and now you have smart switches that you control with a computer or an app. I'm a little old-fashioned. I like to turn the light off or turn the light on compared to having to pick up my phone, find the app, open the app, wait for the app to load, find the light, scroll down, I want this light, and I want to turn it on at 50%. It's much easier to just turn off a light. On the brew scale, technical ability I rate as a beginner, as long as you know how to shut off the circuit breaker and use a screwdriver. Physical ability I rate as easy. This is a simple job, and if you have a screw gun, it will be even easier. I purchased 2 new switches to replace the ones I'm having issues with. This one here is an exact replacement to the one that I have upstairs, as well as this one here. This other one I purchased does have the on and off toggle switch, but also came with a touch dimmer, so a little bit fancier, but it did cost 25% more. I like the type of switch where you can turn the light on and off, set the dimmer at a level, and when you switch the switch, the light will come on at that level each time. First thing is to turn off the circuit breaker that powers the lighting circuit that connects to the switch you are replacing. To do this, flip the switch to turn the lights on. Go to your panel, find the breaker, and turn it off. Come back and check that the lights are now off. If your panel isn't labeled, you'll have to play the guessing game and just start turning off breakers. If you have to do it this way, shut down computers and any other items that could have an issue if the power is suddenly turned off and on. This will go much quicker if you have someone helping you on a phone by the light. Keep in mind that a lighting circuit should be a 15 amp breaker, so start with those first. You ready? And that one. How about now? Okay, it's got to be this one. Great. How about hitting that like button for me? Oh, not you, honey. I was talking to the camera. Yes, I appreciate that you like my videos every time. She says hi. Oh, and to hit the like button. Okay, thanks, honey. All right, bye. Now, if your switch turns on just one light fixture, there's the slight possibility that the bulb burnt out as you're flipping breakers. So while you think the circuit is off, it's actually on and the lights in your bedroom are off. That is where a little circuit tester like this comes in very handy. It will detect if a circuit is on or off. It's a good idea to check the tester on a switch or an outlet that you know is on to make sure it is working properly. I'll put a link in the description below. Tester is working. These switches are off. I can now safely remove this cover with a flat blade screwdriver and start removing the bad switch. In some situations, you may have a receptacle and a switch together in the same duplex box. In that case, you'll want to make sure that the power to both items have been shut off. I'm going to do this with just a Phillips screwdriver to show you that you don't need many tools. These screws are usually around 3/4 inches long and have fine threads, so they do take a while to remove. In most cases, there will be a thin cardboard washer that will keep the screws attached to the switch. I can't see where the ground wire is attached. The line and load wires are attached using a wire nut. The new switch has 3 wires plus the ground. This blue wire is used if you're installing it as a 3-way switch. I need to remove this other switch to see what's up with the ground. Well, that's interesting. Whoever installed this just connected the ground wire to the ground screw on the other switch, which you could do if the junction box was made of metal and connected to a ground wire. This box is plastic. Plastic doesn't conduct electricity, so it can't be grounded. I need to fix this. The grounding of switches didn't get added to the NEC codebook until 1999, and it's only required on new switches, not replacing an old switch, which could be why they wired it the way they did. I might as well make it safer. Fortunately, there are ground wires in the box that I can connect to. I need to add another wire to this group so I can properly ground the switches. I don't think I can get this wire crimp off, so I'll cut the wires and add a new wire with a wire nut. A switch doesn't need to be grounded to work. It's just another measure of safety. Electrical charges are naturally attracted to conductive surfaces like metal, water, and our bodies, which is why we can get an electric shock. If something goes wrong, like a loose wire or damaged insulation, the ground wire gives an excess charge an easier path through the ground wire itself and not through our bodies. I'll remove the old switch by twisting off the wire nuts. Funny that they took the time to add electrical tape to the wire nuts, but didn't take the time to ground the switches properly. I've mentioned before that I've found a few issues with the wiring in this house. I don't know if it was done poorly by the builder or a bad DIY job later, but whoever did some of it had poor workmanship. The directions state that the black and red wire on the switch can be swapped. So in this case, it doesn't matter which one goes to the circuit breaker and which one goes to the light. Some switches and outlets do have line and load labeled on them, so be sure to read the directions that came with the switch. If you use a twist-on wire nut properly, there is no need to tape the wire nut as well. Just make sure the wire nut has a good grip on each wire. I also need to put a wire nut on the blue wire for safety. I cut the ground wire off the bad switch and attached it to the other light switch. Now I'll use a push-in type wire nut to connect all the grounds together. All the wire connections are finished. Now I get to fit this back into the box. I decided to use a screw drill driver to speed this part up. Leave the screws a little loose so you can adjust the switches a bit to fit the cover. Now I'll go flip the breaker back on and check that the switch is working. Here we go. On. Off. On. And let's check the dimmer. Okay, that's kind of cool. Well, it doesn't actually work the way that I like it to work. The switch itself will put the light at full, then you can dim it and turn it off. But if you hit the switch, it will go to full, not where you had the dimmer last set. According to the installation guide, there are some settings that can be changed, including presets. I'll check that out and maybe do a follow-up video. So this will take a little time to get used to. I guess we'll see if we like the touch type better than the lever type. Do you want to add some outdoor lighting? Check out this video. Do you have some other things in the house need fixing? Check out this playlist. Now I'm gonna go turn off the breaker to my office and get that switch replaced as well. Thanks for watching to the end.